Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 Virtual University and Degree Information Fair. My name is Kristen Keogh-Raponi, and I'm an Academic Pathways Coordinator here at Seneca. Throughout this week, we have been showcasing our partner institutions from around the globe who have been presenting and discussing pathway opportunities that are available to Seneca students after you have completed your Seneca diploma. With us for this session, we have Ashlyn from Toronto Metropolitan University, who will be talking about their direct entry pathway programs. Please note that, like all webinars this week, this session will be recorded and will be posted on our website and YouTube channel by next week for you to view on demand at any time. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please go ahead and pop those in the chat, and we'll take up all questions at the end of the presentation. And with that, I'll now hand it over to you, Ashlyn.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. As mentioned, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about TMU and are some of our pathway programs that we offer. So to get us started, I would like to just take a second to acknowledge the land. So TMU is located in downtown Toronto, and Toronto, or Takarano, as it is traditionally known, occupies a place that has been home to Indigenous peoples for over 15,000 years. This includes the Huron-Wendat, the Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the New Credit River. This territory is subject to the Deschutes-Wampum Wampum Treaty, which is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples have been invited into this land in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. And to me, land acknowledgements are a way to remind ourselves that colonialism still exists, and we must each be active participants in dismantling it. So again, my name is Ashlyn. I usually hear pronouns. I'm a recruitment officer here at TMU. My job is to literally travel across the country and speak to students like yourselves about all the opportunities that TMU has to offer. I myself was a TMU student. I actually did my master's in media production at TMU. So what are some things you might not know about our institution? Well, we were founded in 1948. Back then, we only had around 200 students, and we were created right after World War II with the mission of making students job ready. So we've been around for about 75 years, and a lot has changed in the downtown core, but something that hasn't changed is our dedication to making students job ready. We have every single one of our over 60 undergraduate programs has some sort of experiential learning component attached to it. And we also have ties of the last 75 years in the downtown core and great relationships with employers, as well as experiential learning opportunities across the city, but also worldwide as well. So how can TMU help set you up for success? Well, one of the ways we do that is through our amazing location. Like I just said, we're located in downtown Toronto, right at the corner of Yonge and Dundas, which happens to be the busiest intersection in this entire country. This means that there's a lot for you to do as a student, but it also means that you're connected with the biggest city in the country. We have over 200 plus community partners across the board, and we are one of the largest tech hubs in Canada right here in the downtown core. So if you're studying business, you're going to be studying business right on Bay Street. You're going to be studying business on the same street as the financial district in Canada. If you are studying fashion, you're going to be right around the corner from the fashion district. If you're into science, you're going to be steps away from Hospital Row, and so much more. But being a student isn't only about the industry, it's also about enjoying your time as a student. And there's always a million and one things to do in the city of Toronto, as I'm sure some of you are familiar with, whether it is going to a sports game, eating at a Michelin star restaurant, going to a cool concert, or even just finding a green space in the middle of campus or the city. There's always something to do, and you're at walking distance when it comes to TMU. So if you wanted to go to a Jays game, you could literally walk there after class. Today, we are actually having a speaker from the Jays, Trey Savage, come onto campus. I'm going to go over there this afternoon and listen to him speak about social media use, for example. Or if you have a concert, like I'm going to a concert in a few months, I'm going to the Olivia Dean concert in August. I'm going to walk there after work because it's just so centrally located and so convenient to the things in and around the city. How else can we help set you up for success? Well, you might remember that I mentioned that every single one of our over 60 programs has an experiential learning component attached to it. And that can look like a lot of different things. It might look like a cool co-op or an internship or placement. It might look like a really cool classroom. It might look like a really cool project and more. So for example, in our business school, we have Bloomberg labs where students can get Bloomberg certified, and Bloomberg terminals are the terminals that they use on stock markets and Wall Street, for example, and you can do that before you even graduate. Our nursing students have spaces that look like actual hospitals on purpose to prepare you for what that looks like. We have great facilities like our Red Bull Gaming Hub that is used for like tournaments and so much more. How else can we help set you up for success? Well, through something called entrepreneurship and innovation. How do we do that? At TMU, we do that through something called zone learning. Zones are incubators or hubs where students can take a business idea and grow it while they're still a student. This is open to every single student at TMU. You can join any zone. So you could be a early childhood studies student who's in the fashion zone, or maybe a disability studies student who works in the biomedical zone. Every zone has its own unique niche. The biomedical zone, for example, is located inside St. Michael's Hospital. And again, this is open to you as anyway. So if you have an idea for a business, you can pitch your business idea and grow it in one of these zones. But even if you don't have an idea, you can even help support someone else's idea. So when I was a student, for example, I was a part of the transmedia zone. And when I did that, I was actually attached to a project. It was a web series called Blackout. It was kind of like this horror like web series, and I was able to do some research for them, get some job experience, added that to my resume as well. But a lot of cool companies have come out of zone learning. Just to name two really quickly off the bat, one of them is called Inkbox. If you haven't heard of Inkbox, Inkbox is a temporary tattoo company where you can literally get like a temporary tattoo. So it fades in a couple weeks. So maybe you want something for a sports game, or maybe you want something for a costume, or maybe you're just trying out a tattoo. You can do that. That started out with two students, had an idea, they pitched it to the fashion zone, grew their business, recently sold their company for millions of dollars to BIC, the pen company. Another really popular, cool and popular one, in my opinion, is called Majuri Jewelry. Now, you may have noticed one of those photos on my slide is Taylor Swift and her fiance Travis Kelce making out. And although I do happen to be a Swiftie, that's not why I have them on my screen. I have that photo specifically because you get a really good shot of Taylor's hand in that photo. And on that hand, she is wearing two Majuri Jewelry rings. Majuri Jewelry, again, was started by one of our students who had an idea, pitched it to a zone, grew her business, and now celebrities like Selena Gomez, Kim Kardashian, and yes, of course, Taylor Swift have been spotted wearing Majuri jewelry. Now, what's also important to us is the community we have here at TMU. We have over 600 groups, clubs, and activities that you can be a part of. I always tell students that groups and clubs are the easiest way to make friends on campus, but it's also a way to build up your resume with experiences and really cool opportunities. Whether you're joining something like the K-pop club, where you can learn a little bit about K-pop choreography, to something totally different, like one of our engineering groups, or one of my favorites is the Netflix Club, where you can literally talk and discuss films that are up on Netflix. This is a really great opportunity to, again, meet people who are in the university, find your community on campus, but also build up skills and networking opportunities that you can use in the workplace after you graduate. And sometimes our students actually end up in clubs that are really career focused as well, and they can use that to build up their resume as well. We also have really great athletics and recreation, not one, but two gym facilities on campus. And as a TMU student, you're not paying anything additional to use these. So you could be cheering on the TMU Bold on the Mattamy Athletic Center, which happens to be the former Maple Leaf Gardens. So you could literally work out in the same place that the Beatles once performed. Or you could work out in our second gym facility, which is the Recreation and Athletic Center, which is actually located underneath our quad. So you can go there. Again, both facilities are at your disposal. You could take a Zumba class or a bachata class at no additional fee. Something we're incredibly proud of at TMU is that we've recently been named the #1 university in Canada for student services, according to Maclean's magazine. This is something, again, we're so proud of, but it's not a surprise to anyone that's been involved in the university, because at TMU, we really do want to respect and fulfill and help the entire student, whether that is athletically, emotionally, academically, and more. And we do that in a lot of different ways. So, for example, we have a low sensory study space on campus where you can go in and study in a space that is low sensory that might help you out throughout your studies. Or maybe during exam season, you want to take a quick nap, you can go to one of our nap pods. Uh, One of my favorite things to do on campus is to go see the therapy dogs. You could do that once a week, just kind of a place to relax. But we also have places like the service hub and so much more, library that'll help you with research facilities, or a try mentoring program where you can actually get a mentor who's familiar with the university. Or once you get into your fourth year, you can actually get into a mentor who's in the industry that you want to get into and learn a little bit more about the networking opportunities there, but a little more about the industry you're trying to get into as well. So let's pivot this presentation a little bit to talk about admissions. Now, our equal consideration deadline to apply is February 1st. Now, that doesn't mean you can't apply after February 1st. You absolutely can. It's just that after February 1st, programs can begin to close. But if they remain open, you are welcome to apply, and you are equally considered if you apply before February 1st. After February 1st, you're just subject to the spaces available. So we have a lot of different options for students. Here's a list of our current formal pathways that are offered at TMU. Admissions into these pathways is different for each program and there is predefined criteria for students who have completed specific credentials. Students with these credentials outside of TMU at another college or university, depending on what they apply to. So for example, you can see that social work has the advanced standing pathways for students to enter into second or third year. And that's actually going to be determined by the amount of experience in the workplace you have. Now, these pathways do not require secondary school transcripts. So for the basis of admission, we're actually using your diplomas, your college diplomas for these specific pathways. And more details on each of these specific pathways can be found on our website. Now, there is a difference between a formal pathway and a transfer student. So a formal pathway refers to like an established transfer route into a degree program where your previous studies are recognized and can enter a program at a more advanced level. So you're not entering it from year one, you're entering it maybe in third or second year. Often this is due to we're basically counting your college years as a part of the university credits. So instead of applying as a general first year, you're applying into a more advanced standing. Whereas transfer students, on the other hand, is someone who may have started with post-secondary studies at another accredited institution and is now applying to a full degree at TMU. So this, of course, is very broad, but basically what we would do is that, let's say we don't have a formalized pathway for your specific program, you can apply to a four-year program. So let's say you're applying to, I don't know, what's one of our four-year programs, professional music. You can apply to the four-year professional music program, and then you can apply for transfer credits given the credits that you've already have. And we can do a case-by-case basis on how many credits we can grant you, depending on what you've previously studied. And you would just go on and take the remainder of your studies, depending on what we grant you in that case. There we go. So speaking of transfer credits are a way for students to receive recognition for the courses that they've successfully completed at another post-secondary institution. So when you apply as a transfer student, TMU reviews your past coursework and determines whether it matches the content and level of courses that you've for your chosen program. Now, we do not offer pre-assessment for transfer credits. This is something that we often get questions about. So you have to apply to a specific program and then apply to transfer credits. So I can't tell you off the bat how many credits you're going to get for X program. You have to go through the process. As well, pathway students still receive additional transfer credits. So for anyone who does apply to our formal pathways, be sure to submit a transfer credit application anyway. You never know, maybe something can be granted. If approved, transfer credits can reduce the number of courses that you need to take in TMU, allowing you to avoid repeating coursework and graduate a little sooner. Overall, transfer credits are a way to build on the work that you've already done and make your transition a little bit more smoother and efficient. There is no fee required to transfer credits, which is also a big question that we often get. So how do you apply to TMU? Well, generally, you're going to be applying using the OUAC, which stands for the Ontario University Application Center. Once you do that, you're going to be invited into the Choose TMU portal, which is the image that you see on the screen right there. And you can upload your transcripts, any previous transcripts that you have, and any of the required documents. You can then log in to apply for scholarships. And then what we recommend is that you can checking that portal to make sure that you are getting up-to-date information. Now, the most common question I get from students is, when will I hear back? So we actually do rolling admissions at TMU. The majority of our admission decisions are released between February and May, of course, depending on when you apply. But if you apply before February 1st, you're guaranteed a response by the end of May. Now, something I often tell students to check out is our new student website. So let's say you do get accepted, congratulations, that's awesome. Make sure you're bookmarking this page because this page is your one go-to space for anything that happens from the moment you get accepted all the way to September when you would start your studies. Now, we did briefly mention scholarships and awards. We have lots of scholarships and awards at TMU. They're all kind of funneled through this portal called Award Spring. So basically, once you apply to us, once you have a student number, you can log into Award Spring, you fill out a profile, and it'll actually curate a list of scholarships that you're eligible for. But what I always tell students is don't look at it once and never again. Like look at it throughout your studies because your qualifications change after you've actually begin your studies with us. So you want to keep checking that because there's a lot of money up for grabs, over 20 million. So you want to make sure that you're getting your hands on some of that free money by applying through Award Spring. So if you're interested in a school with over 75 years of experience in the downtown core, if you're interested in a school that really prioritizes experiential learning and student services, we might be a really good fit for you. So if you think that might be the case, I really advise you to come onto campus. The easiest way to figure out which institution is the right one for you is to actually visit it and walk around and see if you can visualize yourself there for the next few years. We also do advising appointments and so many more activities. You can do a Meet a Current Student initiative where you literally book a virtual 20-minute meeting with a student and learn a little bit about their experience at TMU. And you can always sign up for updates by following us on social media. I've also included our email so that you can email us if we don't have any of the questions. If you don't get your questions answered today, you can always email us and we can go from there. So with that, I'm going to stop presenting and we'll pass it back to the folks at Seneca so we can do some Q&A.
Thanks so much. That was a really great presentation. So many wonderful opportunities and amazing things that TMU students are doing. I had no idea. So feel free to pop your questions now in the chat and we'll take those up. We do have one. If I apply for September, would I get a conditional offer if I get accepted?
Good question. So most of our offers are conditional because most of the students who apply to us are currently studying, right? So let's say you get accepted, let's say you apply today and you get accepted next week. That would be really great because that's a really quick answer from us. But it would be contingent and dependent on your current grades. So you're not finished school, so likely yes. Depending on your situation, most of our offers are conditional upon, and then like you would read your letter to figure out what those conditions are. And most of the time, it's like the grades that you're currently studying. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. So we have some programs that will go right to the end of August. Would a student then be able to start in September, or do they need to take any gap semesters in between?
So it does depend on the program. Like some of them require you to submit things by June 30th, but in most cases, what would happen is that you would let us know. So when you apply, you have an optional supplementary form where you can upload, it's not even an upload, you just fill out the form. And in there, you tell us when the end date of your degree or your diploma would be, or the classes you're taking will be. So that as long as we're informed, we're okay with it. We'll let you know in the condition letter when you need to submit your final grades by. And most of the time, we're human beings. It's not a machine you're talking to, it's actual people. So you can talk to us about it and we can figure something out in most cases.
That's great. Thank you. Another common question we have is if there's opportunities to complete their program online or if there's any flex modes.
Yeah, so again, this is program specific, but programs like social work or child and youth care, disability studies, early childhood studies all have online options. Most of our programs are geared towards in person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every single class has to be in person. There are a lot of opportunities to take some online courses, and those courses that I just mentioned are like completely online if you want them to be, but they don't have to be either.
Thank you. And what about for students that are coming from a diploma program? Would there be any English requirements?
Good question. So our general policy is that if you've been in studying at a previous institution for over 4 years, then you could be exempt from it. Because most diploma programs are shorter than 4 years, what I would recommend is to just ask for an exemption. They would review it case by case and grant it from there. But usually what we can do, like when you apply, it'll on your choose portal, it'll say English language proficiency required, yes, no. If it says yes, you can email us and we can take a look. And if we think that it's worth being exempt, we'll exempt you.
Thank you. And sometimes we have students that will take a break from their diploma program before deciding to do a pathway. Would it be like a max of 5 years, or what is the threshold for that?
Oh, I actually don't know that. That's a really good question. I've I would say like 5 years is a pretty decent amount of time. I don't see any problem with you applying after 5 years. So that should be fine. I would say like email us if you're confused or if it's been more than that, just to double check. The only thing I will say is like the pathways that exist right now, they can change in theory, right? So if you wait, let's say you do wait 5 years, maybe the criteria changes. So that might be something to consider. But yeah, a lot of our students will work for some time and then come back and finish their degree with us. So that's very normal.
Thank you. Well, that looks like pretty much all for questions. So if you do have any other questions that come to you, you can reach out directly. We did put, was it the visit us at Toronto TMU that you'd want them to reach out to?
Exactly. Visit us at torontomu.ca. That'll go into our general inbox, and it's just me and two other recruitment officers that look that over. So, and we're in that email every single day. So we'll spot it and be able to answer you.
Thank you. And if you do have any further questions regarding your pathways here at Seneca, you can reach out to the Academic Pathways Office. So my colleague has posted our inbound transfer guide as well as our degree transfer guide and the link to book a virtual one-on-one appointment with us, and our email address is there as well. So we have a couple more questions coming in. Is there winter admissions for BCom?
Good question. Okay, so I'm going to put a link into the chat because this is so this link basically shows every single program that has a winter admission. So if you go to the winter tab, you can take a look. So if I'm going to BCom, there's business management, the direct entry part-time. Unfortunately, that one does not. And then business technology management also does not. So we usually intake in September for those two programs. But if you're interested in any of our other programs, we do have some winter intake, like disability studies, for example, has winter intake.
And we do have some questions coming through about pathway opportunities. So my colleague did post, but I'm also going to post again. These are the pathway opportunities that are available from your Seneca diploma into a pathway with TMU. Another question is, as a mature student, what prerequisites are required? Do I need the 6 high school credits?
So if you are applying to a 4-year program, not a pathway program, as if you qualify as a mature student, we would only be looking for the prerequisites in that program. So for example, let's say you wanted to apply to psychology, which is a 4-year program. The only prerequisite for us for psychology is English at a grade 12 level. So if you're a mature student and you qualify under a mature student status, then you would just need to take that one English class in order to be eligible to apply to us. We don't need like the 6. But if you're applying to a pathway program, so for example, let's say we said like BCom, for example. So let's say you're doing an advanced 3-year diploma in business and like marketing administration, and you wanted to do the pathway program into our business program, then we actually don't require any of your high school credits. We're only going to be looking at your diploma from Seneca. So depends on what kind of program you're looking for.
That's great. Thank you so much. I am going to post as well for students. This is the link to all the other events that we have this week with other institutions. So please take a look at that and join what you can. This will also be the link where we'll post by next week the recordings for this session and all of our other sessions. So thank you so much, Ashleen, for joining us today. I really appreciate that. That was a really great presentation with lots of really useful information for students.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.